offenses, and these repeated offenses of gunplay and gun violence, gun gestures in particular within the NBA. Demetrius Jamel Morant is a 25-year-old professional basketball player, affectionately known as Ja. So Ja, like any other young man who grew up in a rural town, Dalzell, South Carolina, with only 2,000 people in total, grew up seeing people he knew daily. Likely played video games, listened to music, read books, watched television. So a lot of the things that we're hearing about Ja with this fascination with gun gestures and gunplay seems to be learned behavior he adapted once he landed in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, the NBA is not 100% responsible for the culture that seems to take place in Memphis where gun violence is concerned. However, with repeated offenses of gun gestures going all the way back to Gilbert Arenas in 2010, that is 15 years ago, where Gilbert Arenas was suspended indefinitely or for 50 games for bringing a firearm to the Wizards locker room along with another player and for mocking the situation reportedly by making the gun gesture. This is the first time in any research that the gun gesture was discussed. In 2010, fast forward a little bit, 2015, another player who played for the Miami Heat, Gerald Green, was fined $25,000 for the gun gesture. Similar offense, the gun gesture. So it's been 5 years. The gun gesture is still around in the NBA, and now there's a fine of 25,000. Go forward 2 years. There's another player, and then there's another player. There's a Josh Jackson, and now there's a Ja Morant. Ja's situation is a bit more curious. It seems that although Ja Morant grew up in what is considered a plus two parent household, generally it's said that research shows that there's a more positive outcome when two parents are in the home. But we have to be honest, you have to look at the quality of the parenting. Now, this is not a knock against Ja's parents. I don't know them, haven't studied their parenting. So that's a general statement. There are single parent homes out there who have produced 5 children, all have gone to medical school and have become doctors. So it's not the number of parents in the home, it's the quality of the parenting. But by all accounts of Ja's life in Dazzle, South Carolina, small high school, 1,000 students in total. Whereas in Memphis, high schools have 2,500 plus children. Totally different environment, more people. So John leaves his small town where he spent hours training with his dad, who also played basketball. John's mother played 2 sports as well. His sister Tanaya, known as Naya, also played basketball. She played with overtime during a period where it was Tanaya and Paige Buckner, who just won the women's NCAA championship for women's basketball. Tanaya recently announced that she is transferring. She hopped in the transfer portal from an HBCU, Mississippi Valley, looking for more opportunity of playing time. And one of the women's basketball players who liked her post, someone that as Colorado fans we are very fond of. Shalimar Sanders liked Tania's post that she will be transferring, so they must be friends or acquaintances. So I mean, she's in good company. We've never heard anything about Tania. We never heard any type of issue with John Morant in his small town of Dazzle. He went to Murray State, which during the time he was there around 2019, Murray State had a student population of 10,000 students with only 1,000 freshmen. We never heard of any behavioral issues with John Morant at Murray State in Kentucky. But once he gets to Memphis, I remember he was drafted, he bought a home, he had a daughter, he had a girlfriend, and I was thinking to myself, man, he's truly family oriented. There was nothing about him that said he was from a big city, you know. Um, he appeared to just be a very young, I wouldn't use the term sheltered because he played basketball, but growing up in a small town at a very young age, it does shape you. And then descending upon Memphis, Tennessee, one of the most violent cities in the United States when it comes to gun violence. And it seems that he's also best friends with people in the area. So I have to question if the environment in Memphis is something that John Morant maybe saw on television, maybe YouTube videos, maybe the music, maybe it glorifies gun violence. I don't know what type of music he listens to. Maybe it's the video games. Maybe it's all of it put together that I've learned about in my small town in South Carolina. But now that I'm in the big city and these people love me and this is their culture, maybe I have to adopt their culture. Or maybe I chose to adopt their culture here in Memphis. I have become a part of Memphis culture. Now, I don't know what would make him choose to become part of the culture other than he was embraced by the culture. It said he's supposed to be really, really good friends with a popular rapper, Moneybag Yo. Moneybag Yo stated after Ja's first incident when it came to gunplay is that Ja was going through a phase, he'll snap out of it. He has not snapped out of it yet. In fact, the first incident that was caught on Instagram Live was a young Ja Morant who came into the league as a family man with a girlfriend and a daughter, shown in a strip club or an adult club with a dancer in the lap, and then a gun in one hand, and I don't know what was in the other. And he looked like he was having the time of his life. He was caught on Instagram Live. Now, that was in 2023. He had an 8-game suspension after that, right? Uh, 2 months later, he's back in trouble again when it comes to guns. A 25-game suspension. And this is where I said, okay, 25 games is not enough, right? Gilbert Arenas, I think, had a 50-game suspension. And true enough, he actually bought the gun to the locker room. But this is Josh's second offense. 8 games the first time, 25 games the second time. And here we are again. And then there was a lawsuit by a young man that Ja was expected to be mentoring, where the young man reported that Ja threatened him with what? A gun. So I don't know, one, what it's going to take for the NBA to, one, establish a ban, just like the NFL has a ban against violent gestures, including gun gestures. When is the NBA going to institute a ban against violent gestures, including gun gestures? Right now, the NFL is one up on the NBA. They've already had the ban. The NBA has no such ban, which is why different takes were happening, saying that Ja Morant's punishment was unfair or too severe. Well, I mean, if there's no ban against it, is it really wrong? But what happened with the NBA in Ja's case this time, both players, true enough, had a technical foul assessed, but only John Morant had a 75,000 monetary fine. The other player, Buddy Howell, did not. And it is true, Buddy Howell is the player who initiated the gun violence. And there is common thought out there that says, John Morant, you know better, do better. He shouldn't have responded. Well, why not? There is no ban against it. To be honest, there is no ban against violent gestures in the NBA, including gun gestures. Just a series of fines going all the way back to 2010. 15 years of fines and gun gestures, and now it's John Morant. Gilbert Arenas, Gerald Green, Josh Jackson, John Morant. When is the NBA going to institute a fine? Just like the NFL that says this gun violence we find offensive, it is not a part of the values. But no, the NBA wants to take it on a case by case basis. Why? Why would you want to assess whether or not a gun gesture should be fined or not? What is it about a gun gesture that you believe is something that should be celebrated in the game of basketball after scoring 3 points or two? What is it about a gun gesture that you believe makes the game of basketball more entertaining to watch? So, what are we protecting here? If we ban gun gestures, then we lose a particular audience? Or if we ban gun gestures, then the game is seen as soft? By whom? What is it about gun gestures that would make the NBA want to protect the use of gun gestures? But then only John Morant, because he was caught with a gun, is not allowed to make a gun gesture. Do y'all follow me? So this is why I asked the question in the beginning. Is the NBA complicit when it comes to gun gestures because they have not defined a policy against gun gestures or violent gestures, including gun gestures? Was John Morant actually wrong? Or should he just have known better? See, that's two different things there. Was he actually wrong? No, because there is no ban or policy against gun gestures. So he was not wrong. Should he have known better? Yes. Was it fair to only assess a fine to John Morant? No. But why could they not against Buddy Howell? Because there is no ban against gun gestures. Gun gestures are allowed in the NBA for everyone except John Morant. Now, is that fair? No. So the NBA is muddying the waters, but for what? What are you truly protecting here? What are we truly protecting to just allow gun violence and allow gun gestures and only assess a fine against John Morant? It's okay if everyone else does it except for John Morant. That's where we are with the NBA. I was thinking the other day the NBA has truly lost its way when I heard about what happened with John Morant. And this goes all the way back to John Morant having two incidents within a 2 month time period. One with an 8 game suspension and the other only with a 25 game suspension. And that is why it keeps happening. There are no consequences. What did we see with Draymond Green? Once the NBA mandated that he absolutely mandatorily had to attend this 7 person panel and zoom in, he decided to start thinking about his life after a few sessions of rebuking it or resisting it. But once he got comfortable after 3 sessions, Draymond started to open up and talk and think about why he needs to change for the betterment of his children and his family. Those are called consequences. Those are called consequences. So the NBA seems to be slow to assess consequences for unsavory behavior. They want to catapult and highlight and hold up Anthony Edwards, despite the fact that he publicly wants to abandon his child, a relationship with his child, which is not the type of behavior you want to sell to young children, because young children do not have the ability to discern character. In other words, his talent is great, but his character is not something I should want to buy into or to pay money for, to put on my feet or support in any way, shape, or form, financially, emotionally, or with my time. Young children do not have the ability to do that. Then is Draymond Green. A member of What She Said podcast family actually asked the question the other day, Heisman hopeful. What happens if Draymond seriously hurts somebody the next time? Would the NBA be negligent? I would say yes, because he has a history of it due to a lack of consequences, such as an indefinite ban. You're kicked out of the league. And again, the NBA seems slow to ban someone permanently who has abused, assaulted other players. So let's say the Jordan Poole incident happens again to another player, but this time the player collapses, has to be taken to the hospital and hospitalized for a few days. Will the NBA then permanently ban Draymond Green? Would that person have the right to sue for negligence? Absolutely. Absolutely. The only reason they couldn't is in their contract, they waived their rights to sue. But in the incident itself, yes, that's assault and battery. I don't see why Jordan Poole couldn't sue, other than the fact that he wanted to keep his career in the NBA. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Jordan Poole got his fat contract afterwards and was shipped off to another team away from Draymond. And now we're back, Ja Morant. Yes, he's hella talented, but something is happening. And despite Moneybag Yo's encouragement that he will snap out of it, he doesn't seem to be snapping out of it. And it's been a few days since the most recent incident where Ja Morant was fined $75,000 for responding to Buddy Howe's initial gun gesture. And the NBA still has not instituted a ban against violent gestures, including gun gestures. So I asked the question, is the NBA complicit in this growing offense of gun gestures, seemingly content to fine players, even with the number and the dollar amounts of the fines escalating from Gerald Green 25,000 to Josh Jackson 35,000 to now Ja Morant 75,000. So it seems that the solution the NBA thinks is a solution, the right way to go, is a monetary fine which continues to escalate in dollar amount, but no ban against violent gestures, including gun gestures. So, in the curious case of Ja Morant, it's true, when you know better, you do better. But then in the complicit case of the NBA, you know better. But when do you start to do better?